just going to do a quick one because I haven't got much battery in my phone left. So yeah, I've been busy day today, did lots of videos today. Voodoo magic and black magic. That's something that the Asian culture are very familiar with. Western culture may not be so familiar with. Oh, before I start, subscribe to my channel. Comment below, let me know how I'm doing. Right, so voodoo magic, black magic, jadoo tuna we call it, is very well known in Bengali culture. And it's to do with spirits, and it's to do with making people do things against their will. So it's said that you can get some special prayers, you can get some special, I have no idea because I have not had first-hand experience of it. Although saying that, I think people have tried to do it with me. My mother used to do it with my sister. She used to give her some special water that she'd said something in, and whenever my sister came round, she would always say, you know, make sure she drinks that water because that's especially for her, and we weren't allowed to touch it. I have no idea what that water was, where she got it from, what was meant to have done to her. It must have worked because my sister loves her to bits now, you know, so I guess whatever she did made it work, because my sister wouldn't even talk to her, wouldn't look at her, wouldn't come round or anything like that. So all of a sudden, you know, she loves her, so obviously whatever she was feeding her worked. If you hear this, you should know that she was feeding you something in the water. I found a folded up piece of paper with Arabic writing in the filling of one of my pillows a few years ago, which I think my first narc must have put in there. If not, it would have been my mother. My mother actually said that my first narc had actually been to somebody and tried to get something for me to try and persuade me to take him back. It didn't work because I didn't take him back. I don't think he managed to be successful with that, because apparently I wasn't allowing him to be anywhere near me, so he couldn't actually be successful. But I don't think you need to have physical contact with people to get them to do that. I've had a friend who said that she was hoovered back, and the way she was hoovered back was she was adamant she didn't want to go back to him. For 2 months or something, she was separate from him, and she'd, you know, got her own flat and everything. And then she went on a contact session with her children, and he spiked her drink with something, and she said it was like a white powder, and it made the Coke taste funny. It tasted salty. And then suddenly she was desperate to get back together with him. You know, she wanted to go back, even despite her family. Everybody was telling her, you know, why are you going back? She still went, and he's physically very abusive and violent with her, and she shouldn't be with him. The same thing. And then that got me thinking about me. So last year he got arrested. I reported him 3 times to the police in total. He got off NFA'd, so nothing happened because I didn't have physical evidence to charge him with to take it to court. So he got away with it, so he wasn't ever charged, or, you know, never faced trial or anything like that. And yeah, for 2 months, 2.5 months we were separate. I was adamant I wasn't going to go back to him. I wasn't going to take him back. I wasn't going to give him a second chance. Suddenly, 2.5 months later, something happened, and all of a sudden I just wanted to be with him. I just wanted to take him back. I just wanted to give him another chance. It was almost like I just could not bear to be without him, you know. Physically I may have been missing him, but that did not explain why all of a sudden. And even like, let's say, the imam who had been trying to get us back together, persuading me to get back together, said, well, you were adamant you weren't going to go back, you know. What happened? I just couldn't explain it. Now that I think about it, you know, it could have been black magic. You know, that is so common in our culture, that all of a sudden I'm just completely out of my senses. Like, I just want to get this person back, despite all the smear campaign, the gaslighting, the pain, the trauma, the abuse, everything he had put me through. I was desperate to get back together with him. And by November, the state that I was in by November, you know, I looked like a 65-year-old woman. I was covered in marks and infections. Hair was unwashed, undyed. You know, it was a complete mess. I did not look anything like what I look like now. I was in such a mess. And I've heard that with voodoo magic, when you do voodoo magic, people get to such a state that they, you know, they're just a corpse, basically. And that's how I felt. I felt like I was walking around like a zombie by the end of it. You know, I had no free will. I had nothing left of me. He had ground me to the, you know, down to the point where I was considering jumping off a bridge, because he had convinced me that everything was my fault. You know, my kids, my family, everybody was miserable because of me. He was miserable because of me. All the problems I'd caused, the humiliation I'd caused him, everything was my fault. And come to think of it now, I remember on his WhatsApp, he was conferring with a Peed in Pakistan. Peter is somebody religious who would know these kind of things about voodoo magic and all this kind of stuff. And he said that he was just speaking to him about his situation and trying to get some help and support. But it kind of does make me think that definitely there is some voodoo magic and black magic in question here. That, you know, it's so common that people do these kind of things, you know, whether or not they work. I mean, like I say, me and my friend, we both, after being separate for, you know, months or whatever, and we're adamant we don't want to take these people back, we just were head over heels and wanted to go back together with them. So it is scary. It's really scary to think that people can control you in that way, can make you do things that you don't want to, that you're adamant one minute that you don't want them back, you're adamant you're not going to take them back, you're not going to, you know, ever want to see them again or talk to them, and suddenly that's all you can think about. That's all, you know, you just want this person back. And to think that there is these kind of people who do this to other people, the peer who do it to people, you know, the people who actually implement these kind of things. I think my cousin did it to her husband. He was in such a state when I saw him again, whereas, you know, he'd been a strapping young successful person, you know, with businesses and things, and suddenly he's overgrown beard and he's in a state and he looks like he's aged 20 years. You know, it makes you question that these things happen in real life, you know, whether the Western culture believe it or not. In Eastern culture, in Africa, Asia, all these kind of places, black magic and voodoo magic is very rife and people do it all the time. 2 of my uncles are supposed to have died from it. One of my uncles went and was told by somebody that if you go in this particular place and you go and dig in the ground in that particular place, you will find something. And he did. He dug it up, and there was a piece of wood wrapped in some string or something like that. Something weird was buried there, and he found it. But by then he was in such a state, he was so ill, by then he actually died. So it's scary. It's so scary that these people are capable of anything, you know, narcissists, abusers. They will not stop at anything to get to us, to hurt us, to humiliate us. They'll use our kids against us, or turn our kids against us. My 2 older sons, you know, the relationship is irreparable now. You know, I don't think we will ever get back to where we were. You know, we could have had, like, my older son and me were so close up until last year, and it's almost like, you know, one minute he's okay and the next minute he'll just snap at me, you know. The second one, I've never had a good bonding with him because of his dad, and then now because of his stepdad. It's almost like the same thing. History's just repeated itself. You know, I've got 2 younger children. I can try and build a bond with them. I don't know how that's going to happen. Maybe it is me. Maybe I am just a rubbish mum. Who knows? But you can only try your best. That's all we can ever do, is try our best with our kids, try our best with our family and our friends and ourselves. Whether or not things work out the way we want, you know, we never know. We just have to try our best and just leave the rest to a higher authority and hope that he helps us and sorts it out for us. Right, I'm gonna go now. You take care, have a lovely day, subscribe to my YouTube channel, stay safe.